Hey everybody, today I'm going to be reviewing I Care a Lot. This film was directed by Jonathan Blakeson. I don't know anything about this director. This was my first exposure to him watching this film I Care a Lot, and based on what I saw, I feel like I'm not missing much, but feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I watched this movie and I hated it. I hated it so much, and it's one of those movies that just really pushed my buttons. And typically, if I watch a bad movie, if it's like an Adam Sandler movie, I don't care, I'll think it's bad, I'll criticize it, whatever, but there are certain movies that are bad in a way that really gets under my skin, and this is one of them. It's the kind of movie where it thinks it's making some grandiose statement about politics and social structure in America, yet it is hypocritically and ironically kind of relishing in the very thing that it is criticizing, the very thing that it's trying to expose. When I saw the trailer, I was really intrigued by it because the concept, the storyline, when you read it, is very interesting to this movie. It really is. The idea of this con artist named Marla, played by Rosamund Pike, poses as a caretaker for the elderly, and then she's keeping them locked away in retirement communities and, rest homes, so that she can basically take their money, strip them completely of their assets. It's a great idea, a great way to expose, through metaphor, a great way to expose late-stage capitalism, expose the underbelly of a really deeply corrupt system that is meant to keep us all as prisoners. I think it's a cool idea of exploring kind of the satire of that and kind of, looking at the deeper meaning behind it through that lens, kind of through that tart, glossy exterior. But man, it kind of failed in every possible way because it's a film that's not interested in exploring the ideas and exploring how we take advantage of the innocent. Again, it's about reveling in the villainy of it, glorifying the anti-hero who is so one note here, so uninteresting and so poorly written as a character, yet she is shoved down our throats as this sort of mysterious, femme fatale, androgynous bad bitch. And the film is asking us to follow her and care about her journey when she does such abhorrent, despicable things, and there is absolutely nothing about her. There's no insight into her character at all, nothing at all that is redeemable about her. And I know what people will say to that. They'll be like, well, no, that's the point. You're supposed to hate her. And it's like, no, that is a complete cop-out of an answer. I know you're not supposed to think she's Mother Teresa. That's stating the obvious, and that's kind of an uninteresting aspect to bring up here. No, the reason why I dislike this film is how disingenuous it is about presenting her story to us, because you can tell, despite what the film may say on the surface, it is totally on her side all the way through. This movie doesn't care about anything other than just being in love with its main character and framing her in such a way where we get to see her perfectly tailored suits and her high heels, cherry lips with the sneakers so that she's, Instagram ready. The haircut, the fact that she's a strong, independent woman, bad bitch, makes all of it, somehow okay for us to root for her. And it's like, no, I'm not gonna fall for that, because this movie takes us through her journey as if it's supposed to be emotionally impactful, as though she is gaining from something, as if she's growing as a character, as if there are real stakes involved for her. I mean, there's even a scene where, she's getting strangled and she's getting, a bag over her head, and then she's getting thrown in a river, and then she comes up, like this big kind of visual metaphor of clawing to the surface, coming above the water as some sort of rebirth so you can have your final stretch in the third act. It's like, no, there's no self-actualization here. You guys are trying to get me to care for it and it's not working. And it's just, I don't know, it really made me feel nauseous just how in love this film director is with its main character, her wickedness, just the money shots, rather than really sinking the teeth into the actual issues and the repercussions of them. I was just waiting for something, anything to give her dimension at this point, even if it's a cheap shot, even if it was like some traumatic story from her past. I'm not really a big fan of that. It's a lame kind of cliched go-to device, but at least it would have been something. And the thing is, everything was always within her control, which kind of makes the story ultimately uninteresting because, she always had a chance to get out of it. She always had a chance to grow and make a different decision. And yeah, I mean, there are things about it that are good. Rosamund Pike is excellent in the role. She's the perfect choice for the character. Of course, it's very clear why they selected her. It was for her role in Gone Girl, which was very icy and very chilling. And that makes sense, but, she really has a great command of herself as an actor, has great projection. She's a great performer, and she really has a great command of the material. And she has this she's perfect in her body type because she has that slightly kind of dominant, kind of tall, androgynous look. And the way that she's framed, it makes her look a lot more dominant. She is always the domineering one and less the submissive. And the way she carries herself and with that kind of low, self-assured voice and that sly smile, I think it really, really works. She's got the goods, but it's not her fault, you know, that this movie is complete horseshit. You know, she naturally deserved better. She really deserved a script that explored the ideas rather than wrapping the whole concept of everything in artifice and just kind of being hollow for the sake of being hollow. I don't really want to see constant shots of her posing, you know, like she's doing some sort of Vogue photo shoot, like she's a bad bitch. Again, I'm much more interested in, you know, say the character that Diane West plays, you know, the elderly person that she's keeping prisoner, the one who is victimized by this woman's greed, by the system. But no, she is merely a catalyst and a device to really showcase Marla's destruction, a device that is discarded, much like many of the people in real life who have no ability to have control over these situations. When I was watching this movie, it made me think of the film Promising Young Woman, and if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, but you know, I kept thinking about that movie all the way through it. I had plenty of issues with Promising Young Woman. I did review it, so you can check that out. With Cassie, you know, she's a very polarizing anti-heroine that is very similar to Marla, the Rosamund Pike character. And I Care a Lot. But, you know, the difference here is that at least Cassie in Promising Young Woman, she is fighting for justice. You know, she may be going about it completely in the wrong way, in a very destructive way, but at least the cause is noble. And the key of that nobility is what gives her character that chance to potentially grow. And she even has past pain that is fueling her motives now. So yes, I think she has all the fundamentals to build a compelling anti-heroine. But where are they here? Where are they for Marla? There's absolutely nothing. I mean, I guess it's trying to make us feel sympathetic because her partner, her lover, gets compromised through it, but it's like, no, I don't care. It's way too late by this point to try to get us to care about her. So naturally, the story arc is just kind of more and more dull as it goes along. And another thing I hate about this film is how smug it is. I cannot stand movies that are smug but that are completely empty-headed. And here it thinks that the writing is so good, but it's actually kind of abysmal. This movie in a nutshell is talking the talk without walking the walk, because this is some of the most third-rate writing I've heard in a while. It does. It feels like third-rate Quentin Tarantino trying to go for that like black comedy, kind of dark, edgy humor, off kilter in the midst of this satire, but there's nothing that's clever in it. Peter Dinklage is in this. And, you know, he stands there as part of the mob. That's his character. And he's, you know, standing in front of expensive cars, eating chocolate eclairs because quirks. And it's like, oh, okay, here's a chance for things to go a little off the rails, a little bizarre in terms of the writing. And so I'm waiting for him to say something that's interesting, chilling maybe, bizarre, maybe humorous, clever. And all he says is basically just, I love my mother, bring her back. And it's like, snap. That was a good waste of a chocolate eclair. And also the movie has very, like, really bright, saturated colors, obviously, so that Marla's suits and the color and everything really pops on screen. But even in this aesthetic, which is so concerned with, you know, the artifice of everything, it rings hollow. I think it thinks that by knowing a few fashion trends and then, you know, sticking some neon lights in the background of certain scenes, you know, that it has some sort of edge and kind of art house sort of quality, when really it's just, it feels very slapped together. You look at something like Promising Young Woman, and in comparison, there's so much depth to a lot of that aesthetic and what it's saying. It's much more nuanced and aware of that cheekiness in a more complex fashion. And with this movie, I Care a Lot, it kind of reminded me of like when you go to a medieval festival where everybody's dressed up like in the medieval era and everything's supposed to be of the old world, yet you can see like bottles of water and like, you know, phone chargers in the background. It just feels cheap and like I'm being played. And at the end of the film, of course, spoiler alert from here on out, she gives this laughable speech about like, am I the lamb or the lion? Am I the predator or am I the prey? Oh, like it thinks it's really deep and everything. And she's obviously at the height of her power by that point. And then, of course, she is gunned down by the very person that she hurt most because of her actions. And you could say that that is the message of the film, that it's a cautionary tale about late-stage capitalism and how it comes back to bite the greedy in the ass often enough. And also there's the metaphor of there's blood on everybody's hands and nobody is really all good or all bad. Bullshit. This movie spends so much time trying to get us to care about this main character, and then all of a sudden it wants us to judge her. It's jarring but not effective in the kind of way I think that it wants to be. It is a total contradiction to the rest of the film. And it feels like a way to get away with the rest of the film. It's like, yes, yes, I know that we totally romanticized her throughout, but look what happens at the end. Look, see? No thought behind it. And yet again, we're expected to care when she dies, even when the person who actually shot her is a device here. Purely a reductive stereotype, a symbol representing the working class, and again, not willing to understand or explore it. And it's just, it was really just disheartening. And it just made me feel down, I guess because I see so much of this. I see so many films parading themselves as deep art when really they have nothing interesting to say, and it's all pretension. To me, this film is not a social or political commentary. It is mainly a symptom of the sickness that it criticizes. It is a symptom of the sickness of culture and its romanticism of the rich. And I feel that's a disservice. I will watch Fast and the Furious Part 9 all day long, but this kind of stuff, this is the kind of stuff that really just makes me angry when it comes to filmmaking. But yeah, that is my review. Thank you guys so much for watching. All of my Patreon supporters are over here. Thank you guys again, as always. If you're into art and you like supporting artists out there, especially starving artists like myself, I am an artist and I do commissioned portraits and I sell prints of my work. If that's something that interests you, I will put the link below, but it's deepfocuslens.com. You're welcome to peruse, and if you're interested in a commission and you have questions, you can certainly email me. I have my email below as well. Happy to chat with you. And beyond that, all of my social media is below. You can watch more videos here and you can subscribe if you'd like. Catch you next time.